I guess because normally I don't do it while I'm driving, so there's not all this like extra noise, and the sound quality is like way better. If it, I mean, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying like, you know what I mean. Anyways, so yeah, I'm going through here. I'm seeing a lot of browns. I'm seeing a lot of trees and pine trees. It's just gonna get hotter and hotter, guys. What are we gonna do? So, Arkansas is really good at like keeping things as they are, which is not necessarily the best way to manage things. However, they do have some interventions, like fire lanes and stuff like that, that does help preserve a lot of things, and prescribed fires. But I think they kind of forget that, like, the logging industry has so much pine, it's just like bleaching out, or like leaching out, or whatever it's freaking called, out into the landscape, and it's just pine trees, just everywhere, just pine trees, pine trees, pine trees. So, yeah, it kind of sucks. Like, also, the food shortages are coming down the pipeline. We know this. Well, hopefully you know this. But if you have land, like even if you have just like a small yard, I think a fruit tree would be a good decision to plant. Especially if you have horses, like plant some fruit trees, because like hay and stuff, the price of that's just gonna get high. And the cattle, it's like the cattlemen, they've been selling off. They've been selling, and getting out of the business as much as they can. My grandpa, he quit doing cattle, I want to say like 10 years ago. And his friends started doing cattle on the land, renting the land from my grandpa, so that works out pretty well. But then other people around us are like struggling to feed their cows, and we're blessed enough we have acreage that we can use to grow hay and stuff. But I'm not really involved in my grandparents' farm at the moment. But if you have a farm or something, you can just like plant fruit trees and like apples and stuff, and just have that set up for them. And there's different foods and stuff they can eat that's like can grow, like bushes and shrubs and all kinds of stuff you can find. Just make sure you're careful, because like something that maybe you could put in your garden, the cows can't eat, and if it gets into the cow field, that could be bad. So do be careful on that front as always. But it's very barren, you know what I mean? It's just like the hay field, the grass field, it's all brown, and then you've got your trees, but most of them are pine. Some of them are not pine. They can't grow a whole lot of oak trees around the cows, so some of them are like ornamental trees that just like escaped into the wild. Some of them are native trees, and some of them are invasive. So to me, I just see a lot of weeds. Every time I see a pine tree, I'm just like, ugh. I have it out for pine trees. These flowers growing on the side, I think that's a good thing. I've been seeing a lot of wildflowers growing. They've been leaving a lot of stuff not bush hogged. Me personally, I've been spreading wildflower seeds, trying to do it in a responsible way, find reputable companies that have local, native, non-invasive species. But a lot of this stuff is just being allowed to grow. Whoa. That's funny. My phone fell because that construction they were doing, it dropped off a lot deeper than I thought it was going to, and my car hit the bumper going pretty fast. So glad the airbags did not go off. Now I'm scared it's like a delayed thing. You know, something small ever happened like that, and you just start thinking about like how bad it would be to be like in a head-on collision or like get hit really hard and the airbags do go off. Like, oh my god, that's my biggest fear, is the airbags going off. It is hot. It's 87 degrees, but the heat is just so fucking hot. Like, the sun is like hotter or something like that. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a lot of like hay and stuff is just like chilling up here. Too bad they can't just let the cows eat it. It'd be dangerous. This is an adventure. I don't know what time I'm gonna get to an area that has good cell service, but I need to make a phone call before the end of the business day, and it's 3:45, so I might just have to do an after hours call. And, yeah, hope for the best. But it'd be nice to like do something about this drought. God, that's what would be nice. Here's the pine. A lot of them double as hunting woods for deer. Got different hunting clubs. Some of them just like butt up against the hunting clubs, and like
in a quarter mile, turn left onto US 70 East.
They're like right on the line of each other. But the power line and the pine trees, usually like both of those companies, they'll let hunters hunt there. So, yeah.
Take the next left onto US 70 East.
Wow.
Continue on US 70 East for 5 miles.
sometimes cruise control is the best option on these hills. But it is a catch-22. Sometimes it's better to not use cruise control. It almost auto-broke for me, and that would have been dangerous.
In half a mile, continue straight to stay on US 70 East. Continue straight to stay on US 70 East. Continue for 3 miles.
I got one of those probiotic refresher sparkling drink lemon. I'm the worst. As I'm talking, I like hit the thing. Okay, so it's one of those refresher drinks I've had before. So not sponsored. Also, I had one of these earlier. Also not sponsored, which I don't even think you can see that with the way the sun was. But it's those huge cashew nut butter bar, chocolate bar things. So yeah, like 7 grams of sugar. Yay, diabetes. I don't have diabetes, but I might get it based on the way I eat. So I need to like check myself. So yeah, I mean it's just like everything's super spread out. Unless everything's bigger in Texas, because there's a lot of space out here in the South. And in Arkansas, everything's like super far away. There's a lot of national forests, and that's good.
In a quarter mile, keep left to continue toward I-30 East.
Cities own a lot of land that is green space, or just like not even like usable, not like parks. When I say green space, I mean like trees and weeds, you know, like natural fields of like
Keep left.
just whatever grows there. They just bush hog it, you know, like, but they haven't been bush hogging it as aggressively, doesn't seem like.
Continue for 17 miles.
So hopefully, like, they're getting the memo of, like, hey, we gotta like, save the pollinators and shit, so everyone who's, like, managing land needs to really focus on that. And there's all kinds of pollinators, right? Like, there's bats, birds, bees. They all have different kinds of jobs. So, have like a heat wave that kills a bunch of them, which has happened already.
Half a mile, keep left.
With some bats, you know. It'd be nice to have like people who can own pets. Like if you have the ability to like own pets or animals or livestock or anything like that on like a personal level though, that would be pretty cool to like get people involved in like having pets that need to be out of the global warming system, you know what I mean? Like bring them into the air conditioning, because you would have like entire species going extinct. But if you had enough diversity of genes of that species that were kept alive by pet owners, then you could bring the species back. So yeah, like having dogs and cats and goldfish, like that's great. But you know, the people who like will go get like a lizard, you know, just something like unconventional, those are the type of people that would probably be behind like helping endangered species. And there's all kinds of them. If I had the ability to do it, I definitely would. I would have all kinds of stuff. And you know, you could probably get away with doing that kind of stuff in an apartment. I don't mean like Ace Ventura, but I mean like something like, I don't know, you know, like having like an aquarium of coral reef. That wouldn't be considered a pet on your lease. Worst case scenario, you have a landlord that doesn't want you to have anything with like a tank, you know, like fish and stuff. So you could still do a lot of things from even just an apartment. And I think it's cool to see people who like grow their own vegetables and stuff in their own apartment. Also, you know, if you have the ability to save seeds, I have a lot of seeds, and I try to collect them, and I try to also like use them wisely. I think that's another skill that, yeah, saving seeds and having them and having a plan on how you're going to garden, that's super important. but you need the like skills of having done it and gone through the trial and error process before it's like a necessity for you to do it. And it would also be nice to already have stuff going. So like if everything were to be shut down today, it would be nice to like know that you can go home and have food that's already in your garden. It would be, like it would be devastating to go home and not have anything at all, no seeds, and there's nothing you can do. But if you could go home and you have seeds and you can start them, that's better than nothing. But if you already have stuff going and then everything gets shut down, you would be able to just have food already. Like you can start maybe canning some of that, and like hopefully you'd already have your canning skills down also, and have like all your survival skills, and like watching videos and stuff on people doing it, but then doing it yourself. Because like you're gonna have to keep in mind that you're at different altitudes than other people, so you might have to adjust things and all kinds of styles and ways of doing things. You can gain information from videos, you gain a lot of information from doing, and then if you already have, a working pantry with like everything that's going in from your garden, that's a pretty good like survival thing. But obviously not all of us can do that. So what I tend to do is I plant stuff that's in like the city land, land that I know is like not being managed well, and I'm not just doing things blindly. I'm not just throwing seeds randomly. I'm actually thinking about like the native species and what's needed there, and is this space being used for something, or is it just growing weeds? And throw a flower or seed bomb in an area, and then watch the flowers come in. I think that's a pretty cool experience, and so that's kind of what I do, and it feels like more of a contribution to nature than it is to myself. And when it comes to survival, a lot of us forget that we cannot survive without nature, and we think, well, we can just figure out ways to deal with it, to overcome it. We can just figure out ways to not have these natural systems of the earth anymore and to synthesize everything. But we forget that, yeah, we can synthesize everything, except there's nothing we can do to bring back species. There's nothing we can do to bring anything back to life. So once it's too hot for everything to live and everything just dies, then what? Right? Like the people in the bunkers are gonna have the seeds and the ability to change things. As humans, we can intervene. We can create environments in which plants can live in, and we've had greenhouses for how long now, and like we have ways of making cool spaces and doing all these things. So just having the technology that we have sort of puts us ahead of like nature in a way, because like we don't have to be living in it. And I think that's part of our problem, is that we're not living in it. We're living up here in the world, and we're looking out onto nature, and we're like, oh yeah, like the global warming thing is like happening, or like climate change is real, or maybe you don't think climate change is real, but you get into it and you experience it, and you're like, yeah, it's getting hotter, it's getting drier, and you start to realize like over the years it's been getting hotter and drier every year, and things that are very obvious, like pollution and just the toxicity of all the items that we interact with, that alone is a big issue that needs to be addressed. It sort of gets lumped in with like climate change, but climate change is real. Like, it really is. I was talking to someone who's a logger, and he was saying at the beginning of the cutting season last year that it was too dry, and so they're not going to have a good harvest, and it's too hot too soon, and he's actually afraid that the trees are just going to like catch on fire. And that really gave me some perspective, and also kind of made me hate pine trees. Got it out for them. But yeah, so with everything that we're doing, like, I think we need to kind of figure out different ways of doing things. There's so many people, and that's the problem, is like there's so many people, so we need all these trees to provide, you know, whatever it is they make with the trees. And it's so like destructive, and it's happening everywhere, not just my corner of the world. Like, it's happening globally. So if we could do some things, you know, like if we could change the asphalt and the concrete to be made out of like natural materials, that would solve so many problems. Like, that could solve flooding if it's permeable. It could solve, you know, like I've seen videos of like people who have invented like naturally made asphalt type stuff. I don't even remember the ingredients, but like, so it's non-toxic and it filters the water. You know what I mean? Like, that's just such a good idea. However, what is scary is the fact that we're still using cars that run off of gas and oil. So inevitably, you're gonna have gas and oil on the roads, and if it's permeable and the water goes through there, it's gonna create water channels that lead directly into the aquifers and lakes and rivers and all the other stuff. So we need a way of filtering that stuff out as well, but also like the harder way of solving the problem, but also the correct way of solving the problem, would be to stop using cars that are polluting the earth, right? So I drive a gas-powered car. However, that is a temporary thing. I'm going to be getting an electric car, and I'm going to get a solar roof. The problem I have right now is that even if I had an electric car, I would still be using dirty energy, because I would be charging it at a charging station that is ran by coal power. So if I were to go there, you know, and charge my electric car, then I would still be using dirty energy. But if I just buy a car that's running off of gas, you know, I don't know. I did what I did. So I bought a gas car, and then I'm going to buy my next car will be all electric, and I'm going to get solar panels so I can charge the car, you know, with the solar panels. Probably get one of those like battery wall things. The problem with living here is the fact that it does get so hot. So if I were to get those battery things, I would need to create like a cool space. So I would need to like put down some sort of like permeable concrete or something that just gave me a message. So my thing might turn off for some reason soon. I don't know why. Probably a space issue. But yeah, and like grow bamboo and stuff, and some trees and stuff for shade, and then have like, you know, its own kind of shelter type of thing. So I would do that, and then have my solar panels, and then have like my car. You know, I want to buy land one day. You know, it's just things I just want to do. Like, it may or may not ever happen, but it would be nice. It would be nice if it happened. Yeah, so what I want to do now is going to Whole Foods maybe later. I don't know. Like I just gotta like get more work done so I can get more money. And it said my phone's gonna turn off here in a second, anyways. So I guess I'm just gonna like upload this as is without editing it because I don't have space on my phone to edit. So I'm just gonna upload it as is and just hope that it's decent. This is kind of like a crossover episode of my Let's Eat videos and my dash cam videos. So you're getting to see the dash cam experience while I'm giving you the topics of which I would normally give you during the Let's Eat segments. But I'm doing it while driving, so much more like taking time, you know, like I'm much more focused on driving, so there's a lot of stuff that could stand to be cut out. Yeah, storage is too low. So I'm just gonna leave it as is because like I said, I cannot edit it, and I'm going to just upload it as is to both channels, to my Let's Eat channel and my dash cam video channel. So if you're on my dash cam channel and you're like, I don't like this guy talking, you probably have already left, but you know, don't worry, it's going to resume back to normal silent stuff. But if you enjoyed it and you're like, oh, this guy has something to say, you can check out my Let's Eat channel. And if you're watching this on my Let's Eat channel and you're like, oh my god, you are the worst driver in the world, then you can watch all my other videos on my driving channel and you can find out that I am actually a bad driver. So they're interesting. It's like liminal space, dreamscape, just ASMR, visual ASMR type stuff. Like it's relaxing. It's something to put on in the background or whatever. Like if you like visual backgrounds, like I'm so into visual backgrounds. Like background music, okay, yeah, that's fine. But
In
a
2
visual
miles,
background
take exit 128 toward Mablevale West Road, Otter Creek Road.
is like so cool, you know, like a lot of times it's very like stock photo type where it's like a stream of water or just a picture of a still forest, but or campfire, you know. I love those. So this is kind of in that vein of something you can put on like a big screen TV and just like have it rolling, and it's like something you can look at, but it isn't something that like takes your attention that you need to like watch the whole time. And my Let's Eat channel is more focused on just opinions and whatever I'm thinking about. I talk a lot about nature and science and stuff like that. And then I have another channel as well, but I have other channels also, but I'm not gonna probably talk about those because they are a little bit more embarrassing in a way. So if you know what channels I'm talking about, good for you, but I'm not gonna do like a big crossover thing like I did with these two. And so we got
In half a mile, take exit 128 toward Mablevale West Road, Otter Creek Road.
And I've thought about on my driving videos doing something more with them in some way, and like I've come up with different ideas of like, oh, I could add like, you know, animations or like words or something. It's just such
Take
a
exit 128, then merge onto I-30 frontage road.
boring like thing, you know. It's literally just like scenery, you know, like it's just like the city and towns.
Merge onto I-30 frontage road, then use the right lane to take the ramp to I-30 east.
It's typically silent. I mean, the videos are because I mute them. Normally what I do is I start playing YouTube videos on my phone, or I listen to the radio, or I listen
Use
to
the right
Spotify,
lane to take the ramp to I-30 east, then merge onto Mablevale West Road.
and I run the GPS and it interrupts me, or my music, or whatever it
In
is.
800 feet, merge onto Mablevale West Road.
And then I upload the footage without any sound. I just go, I put it
Merge onto
through
Mablevale West Road, then turn right onto Otter Creek East Boulevard.
through a editing thing and just mute the sound. So since I cannot mute the sound right now because I don't have enough space to edit, we're just gonna do a
Take the
little
next right onto Otter Creek East Boulevard.
crossover episode of my driving videos and of my talking videos. And if
Continue
you
on
can
Mableville
tell,
West Road for 3/4 of a mile.
I'm not exactly like the best driver in the world, and I know I've already talked about this once, but look at all those pine trees. Get out of my lane, you're texting. Alright, so GPS. Still got a call to make that payment.
Take the next right onto Mableville West Road.
I did.
Continue on Mableville West Road for half a mile.